Hi, my name's Emma and I'm a member here at Craig Albert Church. If you're just tuning in for the first time, then it's nice to have you with us. I'm just going to be sharing today a little bit about my story, about my life, about how I came to faith and a bit about what I'm doing now. So I grew up here in Cumbernauld with my mum and dad and my younger brother, and we really grew up in the church. We came to the kids clubs, to the toddlers, to Sunday school. Yeah, we really loved just being around, and people just loved us and we felt loved, and I have friends that I've kept until this day who I've met here at the church. And yeah, it was a really great upbringing, was really happy as a child and really enjoyed being around here. My parents took us to everything and we really just felt so blessed to have something like this on our doorstep. When I was about 8 years old, my mum and dad decided that they didn't really want to come to church anymore, that it wasn't really for them, and they never really had many hard feelings. They just decided that they didn't want to come around anymore. And I was quite saddened by this because I really loved being around. So I decided that I would come to the kids clubs and I would still be involved with the church, and I would come to Sunday school with some friends sometimes, and yeah, just really enjoyed being a part of it. I never really understood what it meant to live a life of faith. I just knew that these were people that loved me and cared for me, and I really enjoyed being around them. So as I said, being a part of the kids clubs and the ministries here at the church was a really big part of my life, and I really enjoyed helping out and just being around. So when I became too old to attend the kids clubs myself, I used to come and help out, and there'd be people like Jeanette and Ian and George and Lindsay and the Starks when they were around as well, and just have some great memories of having fun and just being around with them. But there was a particular night that was really special. And I remember being up here in the hall, and we used this space for all of the kids' outreach, and we would have songs and games, and someone would share a message as well. And I remember this one song, and it was a man and he was dancing, and it was a bit of fun, but it was the message behind it that really struck me. And he said, there's only one way that you can get to heaven, and that's through God's son Jesus. He's the only way. And I just remember feeling like, wow, this is real. This is not just something that is fun to be around, and it's actually something that hit me hard. And I really felt like, wow, okay, I think it's time that I take this seriously. And I remember afterwards, George and Ian telling us really the message behind the song. And they were saying, this is not just something that we sing about every week. This is real life. We want you guys to know Jesus for yourself, because he is the way, the truth, and the life. So after I'd made this decision to become a Christian, I remember feeling really excited, really it meant something to me now. It wasn't just something that I was doing for fun. And I remember going home and my dad picking me up from the youth club, and he just wasn't very excited when, I think it was George or Ian had said to him, oh, Emma's made her own commitment of faith, and he was just kind of like, okay, whatever. And that was quite hard, because knowing at one point that faith was important to my dad and my mum as well, for them not to really be bothered was quite hard. But I remember coming along to Sunday school and then to the Bible class with some friends and their family, and then meeting my friends here as well, and just really feeling involved, but like there was something missing. I really wanted my parents to be there, and I remember just praying that they would come back to the church as well. When I was about 16, and my grandfather was quite poorly, he was quite ill and he was going to die, and we knew that. My mum was kind of worried what we were going to do about the funeral. He wasn't really involved in a church at that time, and neither were my mum and dad, so they were like, who's going to take the funeral? What are we going to do? So they asked John if he would take the funeral, and he always says to me now that this is his fault that he does funerals, because that was his first one. But he went to meet my grandfather before he died, and my mum and dad just felt a real peace about him being there, and they were just really happy that they had found someone to do it. And it's all a bit weird how that came about, but yeah, I'm really thankful for that at the time, because it was through my grandfather's death that my mum came back to church. She pretty much the next Sunday said, okay, Emma, I'm going to come with you to church, and I was so happy. And she came along and she just really felt settled as soon as she came back, and I'm so thankful for the church at Craig Albert being so welcoming to her. After a time of being away, there was no judgment, there was no, where have you been? They were just really thankful and welcomed her with loving arms. It took my dad a little bit longer to come back to the church. I think he didn't really know what to think about it. My mum had made a decision quite quickly. But after a few months, my dad then came back as well, and I think he'd really missed being involved in the church and seeing all of his friends and being involved in the sound and that kind of thing, which he once really enjoyed. And for me, this was a real encouragement to see my parents back at church and growing in their faith as well as I was growing in mine. and it was just a really special time for us. And later on that year I was baptised in the church here at Craighalbert, and there was another few girls baptised the same day as well, and it was just a really special day, and I had some of my family and friends there as well, and just being able to share my journey of faith with them, and also my parents being there, and yeah, it was just really special. So as I went through high school, I found it really hard to be living a life of faith but also do what I wanted to do. I had my own plans, but then I also had the church, and it was almost like a kind of two lives that I wanted to please both God and also my friends and my family as well. And yeah, I found it quite a difficult time to have friends from church but also have my friends from school and do what I wanted to do out of church. I found it was very much, my faith was contained in the church building when I came on a Sunday. And I found that really hard, especially in my last few years of high school and kind of beyond until I was about 19. I really struggled with knowing how to live out that life of faith. And I decided that I wanted to do my own thing and go out with my friends and kind of just ignore it for a little while. And I would still come on a Sunday and not really be as involved. And I found myself going to college and wanting to do primary school teaching, and that was my aim in life and my goals. And I kind of just thought, well, okay, this is my plan, this is what I want to do. But when I found all of that kind of crumbling in around me and really finding myself in a place where I didn't really have any of the things that I wanted anymore, the life that I wanted was not fulfilling me at all. And it was at that point that I really asked God, okay, what is it you want me to do? I'm really confused. I don't know, my plans are not going the way I want them anymore. And I remember having my last exam at my first year of college, and I was like, okay, well, this is really not going very well. I failed it the first time, absolutely bombed it. I thought I was doing really well. And I had the last exam in the next week after that. And I said, okay, God, if you want me to do this, my plans, then help me to pass this exam. And if you don't, then I'm ready to give it up and just follow you. And I found that really difficult. I did fail the exam, surprise. And I said, okay, I'm ready. This is it now. I think it's going to be the time where I really commit to you fully. And I found that really hard in the next few months because I found myself needing a job, needing to find a purpose again in life and something else to strive for, because I like to have a goal in mind. So for that period of time, I volunteered around the church. I was involved quite a lot with the mother and toddlers, which is a great ministry here that sees lots of people packed in the hall downstairs. And I remember seeing Yvonne and Elaine and how they were around people, and there was a lot of people not from the church there at that time that were coming along and bringing their kids, and there was dads, grannies, grandpas, people's brothers, sisters. It was just packed. And I just remember thinking that this was an amazing testimony to their faith and also to the church as well, that we would welcome them all in, that there was no judgment. People were just loved. And I think that really spoke to me in that period of time and made me want to really focus on God and commit my life to that. So during those next few months when I was kind of volunteering for the church, I had a few part-time jobs just trying to make some money until I figured out what I wanted to do. And really spending time with people all of the time, being in the toddlers, the kids clubs, being around, the pastoral team at the time, I felt a passion for people. I really enjoyed talking to people, and I was excited about maybe getting the chance to share my faith, whether that be at the toddlers or at the kids clubs with the kids or the families or whoever it was. And I really felt God calling me to go to Bible school just to learn more and to find out how I could share my faith better. So at this point, it was probably about the November, December when I'd really felt a calling to go to Bible school. And talking about it with people from the church, they were really excited as well. And I remember Joy and Mike and Yvonne and Elaine and Johnny all talking about Capernwray Bible School and how they'd had an amazing time there. They'd met with God, they'd met people from all over the world, and they were just really passionate about God, and their faith really spoke to me. So I decided that's where I wanted to go. But it was a lot of money, and at the time I wasn't really earning too much, and I didn't really know what to do. I was excited but nervous. There was different ways to fundraise. The school were very supportive and would kind of help you with some ideas or with the bursary fund. And the church at Craighalbert were really supportive, and they were really excited that they were seeing one of their young people going to pursue a life of ministry. So the church came up with many ideas and they helped me to fundraise, and as part of that we had an afternoon tea, and I'll never forget just walking into the room and seeing so many people there who were so supportive, who were donating money. Some of these people I didn't even know, and at that time I thought that was just an amazing testimony to God and to these people who really just wanted to help me to pursue what I felt called to do. And the people who gave me money who I didn't even know, I just couldn't understand why they would want to help me. Why had God put me in the position where these absolute strangers were giving me money? And I just felt so overwhelmed and blown away and so thankful and blessed by the money and the support and the encouragement and the amount of cards and letters and people just sending their love as I went on this next journey. So arriving at Bible school, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know anyone. There was lots of people. I was sharing a room with 3 other women who I'd never met before, and 2 of them were from Canada and 1 was from Spain. So we all had completely different cultures, different outlooks on life, and I was really nervous, hoping that I would get along with them. And I remember on the first couple of days being in the lectures, and we had to do like Sunday services together, and feeling like this is exactly where I was supposed to be. And I was really excited just to learn more about God's Word and get into the different outreach opportunities. We got to visit different churches, we got to go on kayak trips, and being in the middle of the Lake District was absolutely beautiful. And I just remember feeling so close to God, being in His creation all of the time, literally looking out of the window, and there was sheep and the lambs, and it was the middle of spring, so it was just an amazing experience to be there. And I just remember feeling like this is where I was supposed to be, and learning so much more about God than I had ever imagined that was going to happen. And being surrounded by lots of people who were like-minded and who also wanted to know God and who also weren't perfect people. I had this idea that going to Bible school, everyone was going to be the best Christians in the world, everyone was going to be so perfect. And that was far from the truth. I mean, they were great people, but no one's perfect. And I think that really helped me to understand that just because you're living a life for God doesn't mean that your life's going to be perfect, doesn't mean that you're going to become perfect. And I remember feeling like God was just bringing down some walls in my life to show me what it could be, what life could be like. And I remember having, I still do sometimes, a bad temper and being quite annoyed easily, and I remember finding that really hard because when you're living with people you can't hide that. Adam's laughing because he knows that. So the course down at Capernwray was only 2 months long, and it seemed a lot longer, and the speakers that we had there were from all over the world. And I remember there was a speaker from America, and he was talking about people's giftings in life and their purpose and what we are meant to be doing. And I just remember thinking, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing, I don't know what I'm going to do after this. And I remember lots of other people saying, I'm going to go to university, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to get a job, I already have things lined up at home. And I just remember feeling really overwhelmed, like, okay, well, what's next for me? I have no idea. And I had applied to a Bible school in Glasgow called Tilsley College for a year's long course, and I thought, okay, if I go to Capernwray and I like it and I know I want to do something more, then I can go there afterwards. And that was a year's course starting a few months after. And I just remember one night being there and thinking, okay, actually this is what I want to do. I feel like this is what God wants me to do with my life. And kind of emailing the Bible school and talking to John and people from Craig Albert and saying, this is what I want to do next. This is where I feel like God is leading me, and being really scared because I knew that that was also going to be quite a lot of commitment, a lot of money as well. And I remember just feeling so blessed by the church to have already received so much support from them, and knew that this was going to be my next step. So going to Tilsley Bible College was a real step of faith for me. I didn't know where all the money was coming from. I'd paid the first kind of deposit or so, and I was really nervous, really scared about what was going to happen to me. And it was, for anyone who knows Tilsley Bible College, it's a live-in residential Bible school with lots of ministry opportunities. So you do like a children's placement, a youth placement. As part of it, we went to Romania, and we got to shadow some missionaries out there and see what they were doing, and that was an incredible experience that I never thought I would ever have. and being there and seeing the people's faith when they had so little was a real encouragement to me, and also made me really check my priorities, because I was feeling really nervous and really not sure how to take it all in. And there was children there who literally lived in a tiny house with maybe 9 other siblings, and their parents were, the worship leaders in the church. I just remember feeling so overwhelmed that, this was the life they were living. How could I complain? I have so much to offer and so much to give and so much to do, and I shouldn't be moaning or complaining about that. So that was a real check of my own heart. We also got to go to Wales for a kind of team outreach activity where we got to lead some services, and we got to go into primary schools and do different things with them. And I remember feeling in my element. This was what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with young people, and that was a really exciting time for me. Towards the end of the year at Tilsley Bible College, I was feeling nervous, excited, didn't really know what the future was going to hold. And as part of the year, you have to go on a 1-month placement. And I had no idea where I wanted to go, what I was going to do. But we had to go for like a mentor meeting, and they would kind of suggest what they think you would be suitable for or where you should go. And just before I went in, there was like a notice board, and on it had some suggestions of places you could go. And I remember seeing Abernethy Outdoor Centre and a little kind of description saying that you would be working with young people, and mostly schools who would be coming from all over Scotland, and they would be sharing Jesus with them in the outdoors. And I remember thinking, this is me, this is so exciting, this is what I want to do, I hope no one else is taking it. And going into the meeting and sitting down, and they said, okay Emma, so this is for you, we think you should go to Abernethy. And I was so excited, thinking, yes, I'm so glad that no one else has chosen that one, because I've just seen it on the board and I would love to go. And over the next few weeks, gotten really excited about going there. And I remember getting there and them saying to me, oh, we didn't know if you were going to come or not, because the last 2 people that signed up to come from the Bible college didn't come, they didn't turn up. So I was excited, because I thought, okay, well, God has saved this place for me, and I'm really excited to be there. So fast forward about 1.5 years, and I've just finished my time at Abernethy just due to the current coronavirus situation. And looking back, I've gained a few outdoor qualifications that I never thought that I would ever get or be excited about. I really enjoyed my time there and being in the outdoors, and just being able to share that experience with mostly young people, like primary 7 groups who came on their residentials. And also during the summer we had some family weeks. That really moments that stuck out for me was we had like a single parent family week, and they would come and this would be their time away to relax and enjoy some time in the outdoors, and we would take them to do different activities, and the people who came from the organisation would share a little bit with the parents about faith and kind of just chat to them, and we would take the kids to do some fun stuff. And one memory that sticks out for me was when we took them up on like just a short hill walk one evening, and this was just a time for the kids to kind of get away from their parents, have some fun, and just getting to chat to them, and them being able to share their experience with us. And I remember talking to one of the younger girls, and she was telling me about her family and her life, and just being able to open up, and I was able just to share with her and just give her some encouragement and some hope. And I remember thinking, this is really what I want to be doing with my life. This is what I love doing. I love working with young people, and being in the outdoors, it was an amazing tool to be able to do that. And I'm excited to see how I can use that in my future career and future ministry. Over the last few months, I don't know how you've been feeling, but I was feeling nervous, concerned, not sure what the future was going to look like. But I'm so thankful that I have a faith that is unshakable, that I have a God who cares for everything, every detail, the small, the big, and you can have that too. If you've never thought about a life of faith, I would encourage you to send us a text or a call or reach out, and you can have that too. Please come and be involved in Craig Albert, and I hope to see you when we can eventually meet together.